I think AI is quite often seen as a thing or a technology and assessed on that basis. But in my own work, what I've been trying to do is think about AI more as a process or a relationship between people, actors, firms, and institutions, and the territories or the spaces in which they live. And I think if you adopt this relational perspective on AI, rather than seeing it as a standalone technology isolated from the value chain by which it was produced, or the production processes into which the technology flows, then you miss a lot about what AI actually is. And when you begin to dig into those questions, you find that AI as a technology is to a significant degree about reconfiguring power relations. So who owns and controls technology? Who bears the costs environmentally of producing it or working on it? And then who reaps the gains when it's deployed and generates profits? How are those divided up? So I think adopting this relational perspective on AI gives you a window into understanding the technology that understanding it as a thing in itself doesn't allow you access to. So in terms of the value chain of AI, the research that I'm working on at the moment adopts a global financial network perspective. So what we look at is the relationship between financial networks, that is lenders, and those firms that are borrowing from them to invest. And specifically, we look at these relationships in the context of European AI. And what we find is that US capital is very much dominant in the European AI space. We look at this along two axes. So first of all, we look at the startup space. And there we find that US capital is entering European AI markets and is able to acquire European AI firms. So we have a European investor state, which is putting a lot of effort into fostering an AI startup ecosystem. But as those firms mature, we find US capital moving in and acquiring them and reaping the gains. We look at another axis of the global financial network as it intersects with AI in the data center space in Europe. And here what we find is a combination of US hyperscalers, so Google, Amazon, AWS, Meta, and so on, building AI data centers at scale in Europe at the moment, but increasingly not footing the bill themselves, but instead financing this through circulating bonds. And who's paying for, who's financing the construction of these data centers and therefore bearing the risk? It's European institutional capital increasingly, so pension funds, insurance, and so on. So we look at two different aspects of the global financial network, and we ask who's benefiting from the boom in AI in Europe. And along both these axes, we find that US capital and its deep power in global financial networks means that the US is disproportionately benefiting from the European AI sector.